6 weeks after coming to power, Constantine journeyed to the edge of the empire to a remote spot in modern-day Turkey.
Constantine took a spear and traced the outline of the city in the dirt. His entourage was somewhat amazed at the extent to which he intended to build the city. He is said to have commented, "I will go as far as until he who leads me stops."
That line would become the boundary of the empire's great new capital, Nova Roma, New Rome. From that outline would rise a glittering city at the heart of a great new empire.
Not only is the city half done, but it's got a big problem. Bulging population, one little provincial aqueduct in a city surrounded by sea. So there's water everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
By the mid-4th century, the city was dying of thirst. Constantine's successors would have to develop a water supply far larger than Rome's to keep the city alive. The system they built would be one of the greatest engineering achievements of the ancient world.
There were no local water resources within the city walls of Constantinople, and hence water had to be brought from a much greater distance than anywhere else in the classical world and in the Mediterranean.
The task fell to an emperor named Valens, who ruled from 364 to 378 AD. Valens oversaw an ambitious plan for the world's longest aqueduct system. Completed, it transported spring water a staggering 400 miles, equal to the combined length of all the Roman Empire's aqueducts. The main line began 150 miles west of Constantinople, deep in the hinterlands of Thrace. Byzantine engineers first had to find a way to maintain a consistent downward slope to keep the water moving.
There are tunnels underground, there are channels that go along the surface, and there are, where necessary, these great aqueduct bridges.
Between the 4th and 6th centuries, the Byzantines built 60 aqueduct bridges. The most impressive rose nearly 90 feet. Today it's known as the Kuşun-Lugerme Aqueduct Bridge. Builders first constructed giant stone piers or supports. Once the piers were raised, masons worked on massive arches. Wooden forms held the stones of each arch in place until the keystone could be positioned and the arch completed. The framework was then built on the next tier and the process repeated. Like the Romans, Byzantine masons adorned their bridges with religious carvings. But unlike the Romans, they used Christian, not pagan symbols. More than 80 miles away, another aqueduct bridge, this one even larger, channeled water into the heart of Constantinople, now Turkey's largest city, Istanbul.
I'm standing on top of the giant aqueduct bridge built for the ancient city of Constantinople under the Emperor Valens. Boy, does that name ring power to you, Valens. Now, the entire aqueduct span is 150 miles, but just this section between two hills in Constantinople is 11 football fields long. And boy, did it take care of the city's water problem. But it not only took care of the water problem, just as we've seen in all of the empires, if you want to make a political statement with a public work, you build it big.
Transporting the water to Constantinople was only half the battle. Once in the city, the water had to be stored, but spare land was scarce. Byzantine engineers' solution to this was to build an underground storage system more elaborate than anything else in the ancient world. Over time, they constructed more than 150 subterranean tanks, the largest being the Basilica cistern in Istanbul.